Hi, I'm Eliza. Today we're going to be doing some hearing tests, okay? So just sit back, relax, and close your eyes and just follow along with my instructions as best as you can, okay? The first test is going to be very simple. I'm just going to click my fingers and I want you to tell me how many times I have clicked my fingers, okay? Are you ready? How many times was that? Wonderful, it was 7, and again. How many times was that? Good, that was 10. We're going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to introduce a little bit of background noise. I'm going to put this latex glove on and then just make some sounds with this, okay? So once again, just telling me how many times I click my fingers and doing your best to ignore the latex glove sounds. Are you ready? Good. How many times was that? That was 6. Good. And again. How many times was that? Good. That was 9. Now I'm going to introduce a different type of background sound. We're going to do the same test, but this time I've got this rain stick shaker thing, okay? So I'm just going to be making some background sounds with it. So tell me how many times I click my fingers. How many times was that? It was 5, good, and again. How many times? Good, that was 8, I think. Now we're going to move on to the next test. I am going to make some sounds with my hands, and I just want you to tell me when you can't hear them anymore, okay? So, I'm going to start quite close. Tell me when you can't hear them anymore. Okay, good. And again. Good. Okay, good. Wonderful, good job. We're going to do the same thing, but I'm going to bring back this latex glove and just exactly the same as before, tell me when you can no longer hear. Okay? Good. Wonderful. Good. Good. Okay. Now, I'm either going to make a sound with my hand with the glove on, like this, or I'm going to make a sound with my bare hand, and I just want you to tell me if it is the sound of the glove or my hand, okay? Good, so keeping your eyes closed. Good, it's the glove. Good, my hand. Good. 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 Well done. Okay. Now the next test that we are going to do, I'm going to play you 2 different notes, and I want you to tell me if the second note is higher or lower than the first note, okay? So this is the first note, this is the second note. Good, the second note is higher. Okay, here's the first note and the second note. Good, it's higher. And again, here's the first note. Here's the second note. Good, it was lower. The first note. The second note. The second note is higher. Good. I know sometimes it can be difficult to tell because of the tone, the texture. This is the first note. This is the second note. Good. The second note is lower. This is the first note. This is the second note. First note. Second note. Good. The second note is higher. Here's the first note and the second note. Good, the second note was lower. Well done, you did really well with that. I'm going to put this to the side. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to whisper some words in your ear and I'd like you to repeat them back to me, okay? So, the first word we have chocolate. Good. Toasted coconut. Perfect. Jupiter. Jupiter. Purple. What's purple? Yes. Left. Good. Skyscraper. Good. Skyscraper. Sandwich. Perfect. Garage. Garage. Well done. Garage. Relax. Good. Perfect. Okay. So the next test, I am going to use this tin of shaving soap. And I have a brush here for it. So this is what it sounds like. Okay, so I'm going to wipe the brush on the side. It sounds like this. And I want you to tell me how many times I do that, okay? So first of all, I'm going to swirl it around. Okay, now I'm going to wipe, keeping your eyes closed. How many times was that? Good, it was 3. Going to move it around. Okay, and again, how many times? How many times was that? Good, it was four times. Okay, and again, how many times? How many times was that? Good, that was 5. Okay, now I'm going to swirl it around like this. And I just want you to tell me when I stop, okay? Just let me know when I've stopped and when you can no longer hear it, okay? Are you ready? Good. Good. And again. Good. And again. Good. Well done. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side. Now, for the next test, I am going to whisper the number 1 and the number 2, and I want you to tell me which one is closer, number 1 or number 2. So for example, number 1, this is far away, number 1. Number 2, this is close. Number 2, this is close. Okay, so I'm going to whisper 1, 2, and I want you to tell me which one is closest. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Which one was closer? Good, and again. 1, 2, 1, 2. Which was closer? Good, and again. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good, perfect. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good, 2 was closest that time. I'm going to do the same thing, but with some hand sounds. I just want you to tell me which one is closer, okay? So we have number 1, number 2. Number 1, number 2. Good, number 2 is closer. And again, number 1, number 2. Number 1, number 2. Good, number 1 is closer. Number 1, number 2. Number 1, number 2. Number 1 was closer. Good. Number 1, number 2. Number 1, number 2. Good. Number 2 was closer. I'm going to do the same thing with some tapping on my phone. Tell me if the tapping is closer or far away, okay? So number 1, Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Good. And again, number 1. Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Good. Number 2 is closer. Okay. So now I want you to tell me whether the sound is getting closer or is getting further away. Okay? So this is what it sounds like getting further away. And this is what it sounds like when it's coming closer. Okay? So let me know if it's getting closer or further away. Oh, it's getting further away. Okay. And again. Oh, it's getting closer. Good. And again. Good. Getting closer. Getting closer. Getting further away. Perfect. Okay. Now we are going to do a similar click test to before, but this time I'm just going to be reading some things. So I need you to focus on the clicks and try your best to block out what I'm saying, okay? So this is to do with your auditory processing stuff. Okay, so in 1940, a chemical engineer working for an insurance company and moonlighting as an anthropology lecturer at Yale University published a paper that became wildly internationally popular. How many clicks was that? Okay, good job. We're going to do the same again. I'm going to whisper even closer this time. Benjamin Lee Whorf convinced a generation that the languages we learn as a mother tongue has an enormous effect on the way we perceive the world, and even delimits the concepts we can and cannot think about. How many clicks was it that time? Okay, perfect. One more time. Languages differ essentially in what they must convey and not in what they may convey, explains Roman Jacobson, a notable linguist and literary theorist. Whorf's discredited assertion was that people without words for certain concepts cannot actually think about these concepts. How many was it that time? Okay, well done. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sound, and I want you to tell me if the sound is either tapping or snapping. Okay, tapping like this, or snapping like this with my finger. Are you ready? Okay. Good, that's tapping. Tapping. Snapping. Tapping. Snapping. Tapping. Tapping. That was tapping. Snapping. Snapping. That's tapping. Snapping. Snapping. Tapping. Snapping. Tapping. Well done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to whisper some numbers in your ear, and I want you to repeat them back to me, but in the reverse order. Okay, I'm going to whisper 3 numbers. For example, 3, 2, 1. And I need you to repeat them back to me in the reverse. So 1, 2, 3. Okay? Good. 8, 5, 7, 7, 5, 8. Good. Well done. And again. 9, 3, 11. 3, 9. Good. And again. 12, 2, Good, perfect. 15, 7, 18. Wonderful. 21, 17, 6. Good. 4, 25, 16. Wonderful. Okay. Well, you have done an amazing job, and I think that I can't see any problems with your hearing. So all seems to be in order. I'll let you rest and relax now. Thank you so much for coming in, and I'll see you again soon.